Hey everybody, it's Missy. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with my very first layout for the Thermoweb design team, and I'm super excited to be a part of this awesome team. And I'm going to just talk you through what I'm doing today. I do a lot of things, and the first thing that I'm going to do is start with one of these mixed media sheets. And if you're unfamiliar with what these are, they are almost like a fabric-y vellum paper. I know that's quite a description, but you can tear it, you can color it, you can sew on it, you can cut it, you can punch it. It's very versatile. And so my assignment for my very first project was to use some of the mixed media elements from Thermoweb. And so I decided to try one of these mixed media sheets. A lot of what you're going to see me do today, I'm experimenting because these are a lot of new products that I'm just starting out with. Now, these little ink pads are from Gina Designs, who is also a part of Thermoweb, and they're premium dye inks. And I wanted to create a very colorful, messy, artsy looking background, and my end goal was to punch a bunch of shapes out of it. So I'm going to start with some plastic packaging and several colors of these really cute small ink pads, and they are very bold in color, and I'm just smushing it down onto some plastic, squirting it with some water, and then flipping it over and smushing it down. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know I practically do the packaging technique on just about every layout that I do. It works, it always looks great, and it's just one of my favorite techniques to do. So I thought I would try it on these mixed media sheets. And this is a little bit different than paper. It's going to kind of seep through because it's more of like a fabric-y paper, I guess you could call it. But that's okay because it's not that big of a deal. It's not that messy, and it's not going to warp. That's the one thing that's different about this from paper, is it's going to stay completely flat, even though I'm using lots of liquid here. I really love the colors of these ink pads. There's two different packages of 4. There's like a primary color package and then a tropicals, and I'm just kind of mixing and matching. I'm using my favorite colors. I tried out this gelato. It did not smooth very well on top of the mixed media sheets, but I just wanted to try it and see what it would do. Now, you know, I don't need any gesso or anything like that for this type of sheet. And so it's pretty saturated with color. I'm going to add a little bit of spray inks from my stash, and it took that very well. And I love how the colors kind of blend together, but they also stay separate. So I'm trying to kind of spray colors where there isn't another color or next to a color that it would blend nicely with. So this is the next day. It's dry, and you can see how it did kind of seep through, but it's very flat. It did not warp my paper at all. So I let it dry, and what I'm going to do now is, if you've ever heard of Thermoweb, then you know that they are the company that makes the beautiful Deco Foil. So what I'm going to try here is to add just a little bit of hints of foil on this background, because like I said, I'm going to wind up punching circles out of it, and it's going to be randomly artsy, messy watercolor circles. And so I just was going to experiment here. What I'm using here is the Deco Foil liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to squirt some onto the paper and then kind of smudge it around with this lined stamp. And it's kind of a distressed line stamp, so it's not perfect. And I'm not looking for anything, you know, super bold here. I just wanted little bits of lines of this glue. So I thought I would squirt some onto some plastic and then rub the stamp in it and smush it down that way. And you can't see it because it's just a clear type of glue. And now that it's dry, I'm going to use some of this gorgeous Gina Designs fancy foils. And it's basically just a package of sheets of different colors. And this is the blue color. And once this glue is dry, make sure it is very dry, you just stick the foil on top of it, and then you rub your finger over it, and it adheres the foil to the glue. And you want the foil facing up because you want to see it on top of the glue. Now, I'm not going to be able to see a lot of it here right in the beginning because my glue was very thin. I just used that stamp, but you can kind of see how it adhered to it. It's very subtle, but you can see the shape of that stamp that I used. And that's kind of what I was going for here. I didn't want a ton of the foil. I tried to use a popsicle stick, but your finger works just as well. And I'm quickly realizing that I'm going to have to add more of that adhesive if I want to see more of it, because I just didn't have enough of it on there with that line stamp, because it's not very much. So I grabbed a solid circle stamp and then just kind of squirted some of the adhesive on that and then smudged it down. So now I'm going to have these messy circles. The glue is thicker because there's more of it. Again, I let that dry, and you can also dry this with your heat gun or just let it sit. I use my heat gun just to test it out. And so now you're going to be able to see it a lot better. There you go. Doesn't that look cool? It's kind of like a messy, splotchy circle, but you get these awesome, beautiful, metallic shapes. And you could do this with, I mean, the possibilities are endless. You could literally draw your name or draw a word with that glue and let it dry and put the foil over it. There's a ton of different other products that I'm going to be using in future videos that I didn't even get to on this layout. So I did it a couple more times, and that was just kind of an experiment. I like how that looks. Now that everything is dry, I'm just going to start to randomly punch some circles out of this. And if you know me and my history with punches, I have some punches that work great and some punches that need sharpening, and they seem to be getting dull. But my biggest circle there worked great. And the good thing about this mixed media paper is that it tears very easily. So even though some of it got hung up in my punch, I was able to just very easily reach in and kind of tear it, and it still maintained the circle shape. And some of my punches worked great, some of them it did not, but I definitely don't think it's the material, it's my punches, because I've had problems in the past punching out just regular paper. And you can see my big circle there works great. So anyway, I love how this looks. Look at the colors. I love the messy randomness. But I've got this mixed media messy look, but now that I've punched it out, I can make it nice and neat. And so I love how that looks. I've got little hints of the foil. I'm trying to decide between two pictures, and I think I'm going to go with the color one. But before I glue anything down or make any decisions, I'm going to jazz up the background just a little bit, not a lot. And I'm going to use some of my shimmers and just do a little bit of the packaging technique here just to give the background some color. And I'm not going to use orange or green on my background because I've got a lot of that in the photo and a lot of the orange is going on in those circles. And I didn't do any gesso work or anything like that because I knew that I wasn't going to do a ton of liquid stuff on the cardstock. Okay, this is a different Thermoweb product. This stuff is super cool. Wait till you see what it does. This is called Transfer Gel, and it's kind of like a thin modeling paste, I guess you could say. Cross between a thin modeling paste and some glue. I'm just going to smudge it on with a palette knife through this sunburst stencil. And this is different than the glue that I used previously. So you have to let this stuff dry, and if you want the foil on it, you have to use a laminator. And what I've done is I've let it dry. You can kind of see it there shining in the light. You're going to take your laminator and plug it in so it can be heating up, and you are supposed to kind of put your project in between some parchment paper, but I don't have parchment paper, so I'm going to use some vellum. So what I'm going to do is stick my foil right on top of these sunbursts, and again, make sure the gel is dry. I'm going to use a sheet of the blue that I was using before. Then I'm going to use some pink and some orange. And I know this is glaring in your eyes, but it's foil, so it's just going to be glary for a few seconds here. And what's going to happen is some magic, because the heat from this laminator is going to heat the foil right onto that gel. And I actually put a piece of vellum underneath it. I think I didn't really need that piece because my top piece of vellum kind of got wedged in there, but that's okay. So look what happens here. It's like magic. Is this not the coolest thing ever? I love how this looks. all these different colors. You could do this with any type of stencil. You could just anything you can imagine. Anything at all. It's so pretty. And it's so shiny. And you can see it covered exactly. I got a little spot over there on the left. So anywhere you put the adhesive or the gel and you put the foil on it, it's going to stick to it. But look how cool that looks. This is totally mesmerizing to me. I'm just going to leave that accident spot over there because that's okay. Now, as I'm putting this layout together, it's going to look a little dark. It looks like I've just got black on there, but it's totally in the way that you look at it in the light. And later on in my close-ups, you'll be able to see how awesome everything looks. So I'm going to start to play around with the circles again. I'm going to come back in and start to arrange those where I want them. And that's the picture that I'm going to go with. It's from several years ago. That was actually on my daughter's 3rd birthday, and she's 8 now. And we were running around the park, and she had on the cutest little orange butterfly shirt, and it matched all of these colors perfectly. And it's actually been sitting on my desk for quite a while, and I thought, yep, that's the perfect layout for this. So I added a little bit of yellow spray over to the right just to pull in some of the yellow that is in the circles. I'm going to add some foam to my picture. Now, I don't do a lot of embellishing on this. As you can see, it's pretty busy. I wanted to let those circles and the foil stand out. And some of it does get covered. It's just the nature of, you know, the design and the layering process. But you're still able to see lots of the shiny metallic foil. Going to add a little bit of splatters here in pink, yellow, and blue. And then I let everything dry. This is the next day. I decided to add a little bit of stitching detail in some of the circles. I just did like a big crisscross, and I used a light blue thread. And you can't even see it from here, but in person, it's just an added little extra detail. Okay, so for my layering, I used a random Me and My Big Ideas Project Life card, and then a leftover Hip Kit Project Life card, and they just matched perfectly. So I just kind of layered them behind my picture just to give it a little bit of separation from the background. And then I'm going to add in some blue thread and some yellow thread. Believe it or not, I don't really add a ton of tangled thread on this layout, and it's just a little bit of an added bit of texture because from here you can't even really see it a lot. I am going to add some flare buttons from my stash. I've got several that I have not used that I've had for a while that are white with little rainbow circles or rainbow dots or rainbow stars, and I'm going to kind of scatter those around just to echo the circle element. And then these are some stickers that I've had for forever. They're on my little bin here on my desk. They are some older Carpe Diem Simple Stories stickers. So gluing everything down, this is a glue from Thermoweb, and it is called Mixed Media Adhesive. Very strong multi-purpose glue. So I'm going to use that to glue everything down. And my title is going to be very simple. It's just going to be Happy Girl. And I'm going to combine that cursive yellow word with the blue blocky alphas. I'm going to just play around with some of these flare buttons. And I just recently got a new order of sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps. There was a sale on International Scrapbooking Day, and so I stocked up on some beautiful new sets, and these are a beautiful yellow color. So I'm going to start to glue everything down. I glued down the sequins. I glued down some tiny of the Mixed Media sheet circles, and then I'm going to add some colored thread behind my flare buttons there just to jazz them up and give them a little bit of separation on the background. This is a sticker sheet. It's puffy stickers from Amy Tan Rise and Shine, and I'm going to use that little piece that says Hello Sunshine and just add in some random little stickers from the Simple Stories sheet. They're little teeny tiny flowers, and just they're the perfect color. They match, so I'm just going to scatter a couple of those around. And I did add my journaling and the date And that is it. I love how this turned out. The foil is so cool. Here comes some close-ups of the foil. You can really see it shining in the light. Look at that. Love it. This would look so cool on cards, on a canvas, anything. Look at that blue. I'm obsessed, you guys. This is so cool. I love how this turned out. Let me know if you have any questions. Continue to look out for more videos from me using even more Thermoweb products that I didn't even get to yet. I'm super excited to give everything a try. So let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.